day, Mr. Mayor.
Good day, Gary Goran. It's just a pleasure to be here today.
I'm so glad you could make it.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation. And before we even get into what's happening in the community, Ned, I just want to say thank you, Goran, and in particular for choosing this area to establish, obviously, your business. You could have picked downtown Windsor. You could have gone anywhere, but we know where your roots are. And this is for us a huge piece of transitional opportunities to rebuild the core area of the town that, it was tired. And when we lost St. Anne's High School, we lost a lot of the businesses in the area. They moved on to other areas and so forth. But to have the confidence to come into the core area of the community, it basically setting a tremendous footprint for us now to continue to make this part of the community improvement plan work, and it takes anchors for us to be able to do that. So on behalf of council and certainly administration of the town, I want to thank you for choosing this area.
Well, thank you. I believe in this area, as you know. I believe in Tecumseh, and I believe the residents of Tecumseh, and I'm happy to be back here. As you know, I was across the street before, so yeah. Mr. Mayor, let me ask you a question. As far as I remember, the town of Tecumseh and the leadership, it's always been you. Tell me about that. How many years and how many years have you been mayor and your involvement before that?
For me, as the mayor, began in actually at the end of 2003. So when we look at, I'm starting my 24th year as mayor of the community. As you know, this is the fourth year of a four-year mandate that's coming up at the end of 2026.
So there's an election in 2026?
There's elections in 2026 in October. Yes.
Well, hopefully you're running.
Absolutely.
Because nobody's, I mean, some can come after you, but nobody's going to beat you. You're doing a great job. Sorry.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And, somebody will ask, it's a long time, and it really is. And what keeps you motivated and so forth. I kind of look at individuals. I'll look at yourself and others. What motivates you? It's being able to work with people. And to see your community prosper, grow, those are the rewards, and that's the motivation for me, is to continue to make Tecumseh the best place, the best community for people to live, to work, to play, and how can we make this community better? And I've always been one that I don't profess to know all the answers.
Who does?
But I make sure that people that work for us in the community, those are the experts, and we basically communicate with our residents, find out what's near and dear to them, and we make that into policy, and then you put the experts to work to make sure you deliver that.
It's awesome, smart. I want to talk to you about the future of Tecumseh and the area and so on, but before we get to the future, let's talk about the past. Mm-hmm. Right? Let's talk about last year if we can. 2025 was a good year. Lots of things have happened. What are the couple things that stand out for you of 2025?
Well, obviously, when 2025, we had a lot of great clouds, obviously. What was happening in the United States, their election, the impact of their policies to the country, to the province, and for us, our community. It's very near and dear to us. Goran, as you know, our border is, we're connected at the hip. And when we look at our manufacturing sector and agriculture sector in the region, a lot of it is a common connection with the U.S. Our automotive is a great example of that. Town of Tecumseh, 300 and plus tool and mold shops, highly dependent on the automotive industry and so forth. So you can see the gray clouds and so forth. But I must say, we as a community said, look, we've got work to do. We've got challenges, but we can't, be overly cautious. because there's still demands in the community to make sure that we continue to flourish and so forth. So obviously, when we dealt with the budget last year, we put in place, items there to make sure that we protected our commercial areas and then certainly our automotive impact areas, which is Old Castle, which is the bread and butter, obviously, of our community. And working hand in glove with them. And I think that's critical because the business community are the drivers that will keep us motivated in terms of what we can do to continue to prosper. So we lean on the obviously the expertise of the business community to help us as well. And when we delivered that, we put out a budget and we made sure that our infrastructure capital was intact. And we said, we could have said, look, we're going to back off. We're going to be extra cautious and so forth. We didn't. And working with the city of Windsor, working with obviously the county of Essex, we put out over 200 million in capital last year. The town itself, 85 million. So we invested in the future. We invested not only for today, but we're investing for the future as well. Making sure that we've got sewer pipes in the ground, water mains, additions to our parks, because it's not just the infrastructure to sustain growth, but also to benefit the people that are already here. Make sure that our services are maintained and to continue to put in place the ability for us to bring in new investment into the region, which we have.
Any milestones from last year that stand out? I can think of a couple, but...
Well, Lakewood Park,
Yeah.
I mean, Lakewood Park, Goran, I really believe is a tremendous legacy project over the course of the year. Now, and why I say project, because we're not quite finished yet in terms of bringing in, new assets to help, the recreational piece in the community. And we've got a beautiful plaza that unfortunately with weather last year, we missed the opportunity to open it up in the fall, but it's going to open this June. And it's an amphitheater. We've got a huge water feature that's going there. And it's going to be a gathering place for our citizens, but not only for us, but also for tourism and bringing obviously other people within the county and other areas to come and visit as well. Food trucks, stations that are going to be there, anything from ice creams to tacos to anything there to complement what's already there. And this beautiful kind of pine knob amphitheater to bring in a lot of concerts into the area and so forth. And so we're really excited. And I know I've been hearing a lot from our business community, but also our citizens themselves. They're looking forward to those additional pieces.
Absolutely. I mean, I truly believe that, like you said, Lakewood Park is a jewel for us. And the idea you and I spoke about, hopefully we'll be doing it this year, and we won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but hopefully it comes through.
Oh, I'm very excited about that, and I know having talked to administration and that, and they're ready to sit down and have that conversation.
We're gonna do it
because I think it's our Central Park. It's our
I agree.
Boston Common Park, like those big cities you see in the U.S. or those big center park. We're in the region, we're in the center of town. You've got close to 75 acres, a beautiful green space with a beautiful waterfront property.
I agree. I mean, we're blessed to live where we live. Honestly, every day I thank God for it.
And we're going to continue, expanding. People say, well, how many parks you got in the town? We got about 46 parks, from parkettes to large
46 parks?
46. And from as far away as St. Mary's Park, which is deep in the south end of the community, and parks that range from 75 acres to half an acre. And we pride ourselves to that, because when we look at per capita green space in communities across the country, we're the highest per capita in terms of delivering green space for our citizens, whether it's a small little neighborhood park or more regional type aspects. So everything in between. And we're continuing to putting new equipment, and one of them is our little Southfield Park. Here we've seen all the new apartment buildings that have been built there. So we needed some amenities. A new splash pad's going to be built there this year. And then we're adding even further more complementary assets to that particular park itself. Continuing to expand McAuliffe Park in the Sandwich South area. So we've got a lot of plans, which we're probably looking at, contributing another between $5 and $6 million in improving our parks. So because it's not just about cleaning snow on the streets or putting sewers in the ground. It's
where we play, where we live, where the kids gather.
Exactly.
Love McAuliffe Park. My kids played, baseball, soccer. I don't know how many years. Every weekend we were there. But we've got parks like that where we can gather and play. But then we've got like you said, Lakewood, where we can gather and enjoy. So, which is awesome. Let me ask you. You mentioned something earlier about Old Castle and our shops and so on. The tariffs. Mm-hmm. The tariffs. How are they affecting us? How do you see it? And do you see them? What's the future of the tariffs for us?
Well, obviously, the federal government plays a huge role. So does the provincial government, but also we're there to help support, obviously, our business community. One of the things the tariffs obviously have done for us is basically has put a cautious lean towards looking at expansions and so forth within that area. 2024 was a banner year. There was talk about all kinds of expansion, creating more jobs, and so forth. But I must say, Goran, saying all that, there are some that they're still going to continue. They're looking at, yes, our market is U.S., but guess what? And one of the employers in the area, and a really sage individual, basically said, look, we're dealing with 330 million, a population right next door to us. But sometimes we forget there's 6.5 billion people in the world, and there's other markets. Other people build cars. Other people build planes. Other people, contribute obviously to the world economy. Mm-hmm. And we have a talent here that in other countries, maybe they're not quite as advanced as we are. One thing I've learned is that Canadian people in general are very resilient. And we know tough times. We went through 2008, 9, 10. In your business, you know what that's all about. Mm-hmm. We went through 5 years of supply chain issues with COVID. Mm-hmm. Guess what? We bounced back. Mm-hmm. We're going to bounce back from this.
There's no doubt in my mind. 2007, 2008, 2009, they say there was a recession. Our business doubled plus. And people ask me, well, how did your business double then? During the recession. And I said to them, there was a recession. Nobody told me. I didn't pay attention to the noise and to the negativity. Just went out and made things happen. So sometimes, closing out the noise and, queuing out the negativity is a win-win for everybody. So,
no, I see the resilience,
absolutely.
in people in general. And you know what? We're gonna survive this. Even now they said that our economy was going to collapse, by July, June of last year.
Yeah.
Well, that has not happened.
It won't happen.
And so we continue to push forward because people are saying, look, if one door closed, let's open another one.
Absolutely. Gary, let me ask you a question. 2026, we're in it. Tecumseh passed the budget. Council has. What are some key factors in that budget that would excite the people listening to this?
Well, number one, this budget here, it'll be to your interest or whatever, but and many others, we call it the housing budget.
Good.
And we all know we need to build homes. And when I talked about the investments we made in the previous year, and roughly the 85 million, is we're preparing ourselves now for two major areas in the community. One of them is obviously the hamlet, which is the Banwell corridor between 42 and 22, which those lands now we've put in roughly about 29 million in infrastructure there. We put new sewers, we put in water mains. Now this year we're going to be putting the stormwater retention ponds, investing another roughly 28 million in that area. And the other is the Manning Road project. We call it MERSPA, which is the 22 to 42, again in that area where we've already seen the Marriott Hotel go up and done, the Fuse project, which is Zuckelman's units. That's just the beginning. So between those two sites, we're looking at putting in roughly 7,500, 7,800 new residential units and commercial development in those two areas. And we're doing it right. We're not rushing in because we feel very, very, we feel that it's very important to make sure that whatever we do is sustainable. Make sure that the infrastructure is there to support that growth and not worry about it down the road saying, oh, we should have done this, done that. So we're putting all of our ducks in a row, and that's taken time. And so last year, if we look at, I can't remember in the last 10 years where we've actually put close to 400 plus new units on the market. And so that's great for the municipality, because the more we get this new assessment, now that benefit from the Fuse project and others that come in, they're going to start paying taxes in 26 and moving forward. So that spreads the costs of operating a municipality over a wider amount. And so it keeps our tax increases as close to inflation or less as we move forward. And so we're seeing roughly, like I said, in the very near future, the lands will be prepared, and then encouraging the developers in the municipality to say, here it is, let's go. And we're going to be ready to do that. And also in the meantime, we're doing a lot of infilling in the old core area, in the old town, and many other areas, which I think is very valuable, because you're basically protecting farmland. Number one, you're not sprawling, and you're taking every opportunity to be able to put in residential units in areas where it makes sense because the infrastructure is already there. The amenities are close by. You've seen it down on just from your business, the urban, the Townsend, the two buildings that we put up on Southfield, Peter Valente's building as an example. And my understanding, there's another one coming. And so we're basically looking at a good plan in terms of putting sustainable growth into our community. And I would say for the next at least 10 or 15 years, the land's prepared, the services are there, and the infrastructure is going to be there to support those new projects, but also making sure that we're protecting also the integrity of the old, the already residential areas, and by adding other infrastructure improvements to make sure we don't flood.
Absolutely.
So we're cognizant of that fact, and that's why, Gordon, we are committed in terms of making sure that our assets are protected, and also our residents' assets are protected.
How many homes around across from Vista, that whole area there? How many homes are projected? Because it's going to be the biggest subdivision since Forest Glade in this area.
Absolutely. We're looking there a little over 4,000 units.
4,000 units. And that's going to be obviously in phases.
Correct, yeah.
And so phase one would be a couple hundred, you think?
1,800.
1,800. Wow.
The infrastructure now, as of this year, with the stormwater retention piece being added, it's ready to go. And so it'll be left to the developers and to say, okay, I'm ready to go. But I can tell you, there is a lot of interest there, and they're coming to us and they're saying, you know, let's go, let's get going, and so forth. And then the Manning Road corridor is in the same position. And so this year we've got 8 projects in that area alone. We're looking at expanding the West Lake and connecting it now to Sylvester Drive, which will connect to Manning Road. We're looking at 3 stormwater retention ponds going in there as another project. We're looking at putting in new sewers along Sylvester Drive to help support all of that growth that's happening. And again, working with the developers, and they're chomping on the bit to get going, and so we're pretty excited. And then the Fuse project is moving along quite nicely, and they're looking at going beyond that and adding.
Great project. It makes sense. Love that. Let me the provincial government has passed all kinds of rules when it comes to multifamily homes, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. You know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
And I know that there's, you know, they were coming with cash and saying, look, if you guys do this, we'll give you X amount of money, and so on and so forth. I know that Tecumseh voted in a certain way. Tell me about that.
Yeah, and that would, the federal program, which is the Housing Accelerator Fund, and
Provincial federal.
that was federal, that one.
That Ford was in charge of that.
There's probably about 3 or 4 different programs that are there. The big one, when you talk about 4 units of right versus 3 units of right.
Yeah.
The provincial government's already mandated and said 3 units of right.
Anywhere.
Yeah, it's law. It's done. It is what it is. If you meet the threshold of percentage on lot coverage and so forth, you're done. The other was the 4 unit as a right, and lot sizes were different, and so it's a bit complex. But the 3 unit as a right, basically provincial government was on 60-foot lots. The other was on 80-foot lots. And realistically, we had satisfied 8 out of the 9 amendments or recommendations that the federal government was looking for. Now, the last one was 4 unit as a right. And we were able to negotiate a piece where we had concerns where the flooding issue and the floodplain area. As you know, our community is very low, and so forth. We were able to exempt 4 units of right in Ward 2 and Ward 1, which is the kind of the waterfront properties. So that would eliminate about 2,800 or so lots within that area that you couldn't do it, and so forth. But here's the other one, is that on the provincial side, the 3 unit as a right, basically that exemption doesn't apply.
You said that. What do you mean?
Because the provincial government said 3 unit is a right anywhere.
Anywhere.
It doesn't matter where.
Yeah.
And providing that you meet the thresholds, your lot coverage 45% and all this so forth. we thought with the additional unit, and because there was some concerns, obviously from residents, and we basically said, look, we've got to protect the infrastructure, we've got to protect the residents that are going to be living there, right? So we felt compelled that because we've experienced it in 11 and 2016 and 2017, the major floods that we had in the area. Where were they? They were in Ward 1 and 2. And so it caused, a lot of issue. So that part is, it was, in my opinion, a good decision on that part. Moving forward on the half, what was at stake was the additional $3.2 million of the half money that the feds said, we'll give you the first 25% of the 4.4. We'll give you that because we know it's going to take money to develop plans, bring in consultants, and et cetera. And then you keep that no matter what happens down the road. But moving forward, the 3.2 million, that's at risk. So we had to give that up. And so that 3.2 million, Goran, could have been utilized for incentives. It could have been, for example, if a developer came in and said, I'm going to build X number of homes affordable and so forth, we could have foregone a lot of the servicing, building permits. We could have used it for offsetting some of the costs to help lower the costs of affordable housing. And so that's a good thing. And we could have used it for putting in infrastructure in new areas as well. And so now we've got to figure out where we're going to get that 3.2 million because we already committed it. We committed it in the MRSPA area to put stormwater retention to help us do what? Build houses.
But the government took the three of that.
They took that back. And so, because we didn't fulfill the ninth requirement. But I mean, we are compelled, we're going to continue. I mean, to make sure that those ponds are built because we had a partnership between the developers and the County of Essex because the county has plans for an overpass on Manning and 19 and then improvements and expanding of County Road 19, Manning Road, expanding it to the 401. So there was I think a great partnership, and it's still there. And we're going to fulfill our requirements because we know we got to build houses. We have to.
It's a necessity.
It is. And so I'm disappointed, and it's only by one vote that it was, defeated moving forward. But I mean, you have to deal with the today. And move on, and which we will. And I can tell you, Goran, I'm knocking on doors at the federal and provincial level and finding other ways, to get dollars because we've been very aggressive in the last 3 years. I've been successful in getting over 40 million plus in grants, and so to help develop some dollars. The last one is 50 million. For the Tecumseh Hamlet to put in the sewers and water mains. So I'm not shocked.
Work in progress.
Yes, and then I've been working very well with Andrew Dowie, our MPP locally here.
Great guy.
And he knows our community as well as anybody in government because he was my counselor for 8 years. And so we work well together and so forth. So we're going to continue. We're gonna continue to punch above our weight, and the other thing too is what I want to make clear to the provincial government as well is that there are some opportunities, I think, because last year we exceeding our housing target by 286%. And so they always said if you exceed the target,
we qualify.
We qualify
for the money.
For money.
Yeah.
So we're going to be knocking on
keep knocking the doors
on their door and saying, look, we fulfill a requirement this year. I think we need to be compensating for that.
Awesome. What do you see for next year, this year, 2026, the biggest transformation in the town of Tecumseh?
Obviously, those two areas.
Yeah.
And also some of the bigger projects, you know.
Bigger than those.
Oh, you know, we're talking, you know, we've got over $200 million worth of works that have been either just completed or on, you know, just started or almost completed and so forth. And those are expansion to County Road 42, the roundabouts, the Banwell Road with the city, their overpass. I'm hoping, let's keep our fingers crossed, and it looks pretty good. The overpass, which is another $100 million project at Manning and 19.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we're looking at continuing to build capacity on our roads. And this is important, Gordon, because when we talk about over the next 10 years, putting, you know, 7,000 or 8,000 homes, commercial development and so forth. So there's jobs there. It's going to bring more people into the area. You want them to be able to get in and out of town. And so you need to build capacity. And these projects are obviously going to help us right now, but it's transitional. It's to take us to the next 10 or 15 years to make sure that, you know, we move people in and out of town efficiently.
You think of our EC Road Expressway, I think of any other expressway. I don't know if there's lights on any expressway that I've been on in the past. It's just go, go, go. But we've got some lights, and I know we're going to do some, you know, roundabouts and so on. But I know Banwell, Manning, I've heard the Dillon report many years ago was put out, and it talks about Les Bronze and EC Road being shut down. This is why Sylvester is going to be opening up. Is that true? When do you see Les Bronze and EC Road being shut?
Les Bronze, there was talk at that.
Yeah, the Dillon report.
Yeah, there was. And I think we kind of set that one aside. I think we can manage Les Bronze in a different manner. Now, it's going to be creative, but I've always said engineers can figure it out and so forth. I mean, obviously, the land in that area is a little bit more difficult because you got a cemetery on one side, you've got a lumberyard, you know, on the other side, you got a
commercial right there, like right in the forefront.
But I remember being in Florida a few years ago, and I noticed this intersection in around Fort Myers area, and it kind of reminded me of that intersection of Les Bronze and that. Very tight. And they built an overpass, and everything was managed underneath it. They call it double diamond. That's what they call them. And I think there's some opportunities for us to be able to be very unique in that area. We're going to do some minor things starting at the end of this year, which is we're going to add a right turning lane and a ramp going on to EC Row, leading easterly, which is towards Bell River, you know, Lakeshore, and in around the plaza, the St. Louis Plaza there.
Yeah.
That's a bottleneck right now as we speak. You know, right turning lane, there's none. And so with the expansion of West Lake itself and making that intersection there signalized, then there's probably going to be a closure of that entry point that's so close to the expressway that creates a real problem, you know, in the lumberyard and so forth. We got to eliminate that. So Home Hardware had built their access point to West Lake, which is great. And so if we can keep pushing it further south in there, would make a lot of sense. So when the Sylvester fly off, that's going to be expanded, and then that's going to tie in to West Lake. That's going to take care of the hotel, Fuse, and also road work going into the new subdivisions being built there, the expansion of Sylvester Drive, and so you can start seeing the positioning that at the end of the day Les Bronx Road, it has to be done. I mean, but it'll be the last of those two big ones to figure out exactly how we're going to manage that intersection. But to close Les Bronx Road, if we do that, it has to be, you have to find a way to get.
I
in and
agree.
out.
I agree, because when that report came out, I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't close that.
Yeah, and so it might be, the entry point might be a little further down the road. It might be Sylvester going to Westlake, and then you come on to Les Bronx. I don't know, but
Let the engineers do their job.
that's what we pay them for, you know, to make those
They're
decisions.
smart. Yeah.
But the way they had it set up originally,
Just didn't work.
no, that's why we're not there, and because it didn't make any sense. But you know, if it means you know, we've got to get extra land, because there's only one corner of that there is property to be able to do a proper right turning lane onto, and that would be westerly going northerly on Les Bronx Road. But we'll see how it all goes.
Good. Happy to hear that. A couple more questions. What are some new amenities that the residents of Tecumseh can look forward to this year, perhaps next year?
New amenities? Well, like I said, we're going to be spending about close to $5 million, you know, into our parks. Obviously, the grand opening of Lakewood Peace, that's there.
That's going to happen this June.
Yeah, that's going to happen this year. You're going to start seeing improvements on the Southfield Park, a new splash pad being built there.
Any anchor tenants over here, Gary, in Lakewood? Anything you want to say, or is that hush hush?
Well, there's going to be obviously RFQs are going to go out to see. You know, like I said, we're going to have There's 3 or 4 spots for food trucks there. These are stations. It's not just like, oh, you're going to drive and park. There's water for them there. There's hydro and so forth. So that.
But are they, when you say food trucks, is it their food truck, or is it in the Tecumseh building?
Private sector.
Private sector. Okay, so but it's their physical food truck?
Yeah.
Okay, so but in the building that's there, what's going to be in that building?
Oh, well, obviously, new washrooms
Yeah.
are being built into that area. Obviously, we want to bring back, you know, what was very successful at the time was an ice cream vendor. And
Who doesn't like ice cream?
You know, folks, everybody likes ice cream when it's 30 degrees Celsius out there. So you're going to start seeing more opportunities, and it's going to be an incredible venue. I mean, there's going to be an open community fire pit there. There's going to be, my understanding when meeting with Bear Construction, or the contractor there, they're putting a water feature there. It's going to be one of the biggest ones in Canada. And so it's going to be pretty impressive. And I didn't you know, you look at prints, they look nice, you know, sketch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't tell a story. I did have a tour of the site, and I couldn't believe how big it is. And so it's going to be very impressive. Even the patterns in the concrete, for God's sakes, it's different colors, and it's curves, and it's just unbelievable. You know,
Our brothers and sisters from Erie Street, the good Italians, they can make anything out of cement. Cemente. I don't know what it is.
But they, I'll tell you, it's very, very, very impressive. And to me, it's going to be the premier park in southwestern Ontario.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
And I interrupted you. What other amenities do you think that this year or next year we'll see?
Continue our trail system too, connecting our communities. You know, we're pretty aggressive, and we've been very successful in getting grants provincially and federally to help pay for them. And what you're going to see when County Road 42 will be completed this year, now you'll be able to go from County Road 42 Banwell area on a walking or trail and cycling all the way to our beautiful Lakewood Park, or you'll be able to go to all along the lakefront and into Lakeshore. You'll be able to hook up and go to Ganacho Trail and head to the Ambassador Bridge.
That's what everybody wants.
And so without, vehicle traffic to be concerned about. So connectability, certainly we're going to continue to do that. One of the things we've done as well, and it's not really well known yet, but we've got a partnership with Amico Construction, and one of the issues that they have is in our region is, what do you do with clean fill? They've got no place to put it, and so the partnership with us and Amico is, we're building actually a naturalized trail and park system that's going to connect with the Greenway and obviously all of that parkway, the new 401 going to the bridge, all those trail systems are going to be interconnected. And it's a new park that we're building there, naturalized with a lot of trails and so forth. So we found a home, obviously, and so they're building it with it's all clean.
Yeah, but it helps them too, and it helps us.
It helps us.
It's a win-win.
And so we're going to end up with a roughly 100-acre new trail system and park system at the other end of town. But eventually, that's the whole concept, is connecting our trails, our greenway, the new cancel line that we're working with IRCA. You'll be able to go from our community and visit the other 7 communities, including the city, and that is right along the parkway. And so those are all kinds of projects that are being built right now to sustain our community down the road. And again, it's quality of life. I think that's so important, Goran, and you're in the business to sell that. When you sell a home, it's not just you're selling a home. You're selling, the community. You're selling opportunities. And folks that want to come here, what's the first thing they say? Basically, okay, if I come here, what do they got to offer us?
It's true, but we're Tecumseh is clean. We don't live in a polluted area, surrounded by parks and water, and how blessed are we?
Yeah, and the other jewel that we have is Lacoste Park, and with the new baseball diamond that we built there. And I've always said, if we build it, they will come. No pun intended.
Yeah.
There's no cornfields around it.
No, fair enough.
Last year, we when we hosted the Canadian National Championships, they were so impressed of that ballpark, compared to what we have in their whole program. This is Baseball Canada. They host these tournaments all over Canada. They want to come back, and they're coming back.
Yeah, but you know what? They might have been impressed by the park and the surroundings, but I think they were probably more impressed by the people.
Oh, they were. I mean, the volunteers we had.
Yeah, we have beautiful people in this town.
And so they're coming back in 28 for the national championships again. And this year we're holding Baseball Canada, the national under 22 in Lacoste Park in August of this year. So this is coming this year. We've always been known as a great baseball community. And so we're looking forward to hosting that. And the other one, if you recall, about 2 years ago, we hosted the Hobie National Fishing Championship.
Yes.
Well, guess what? They want to come back. And, for folks that take for granted Lake St. Clair, these are folks from around the world these are professional fishermen. They compete, and they've been all over the world. And one of the things they said is that Lake St. Clair is one of the top 3 lakes in all of the world.
I've heard this many times.
And so they're anxious to come back. And so that creates tourism industry. That's another pillar of the economic development.
Hence the
opportunity.
hotels being, opened, and we need them. Thank God for that.
Exactly it. And so I'm a firm believer, Goran, that if you build it, they will come.
Well, I built this building in the same notion. Build it and they will come. So, closing, one more question, Bernie. What excites you, the town of Tecumseh? What excites you?
First, I'm a little background on myself. I'm not born here.
Okay.
I'm from the Ottawa area. I moved here, I was fairly young. I was about 25 years old. Young family, and I moved into the area, but I didn't live in Tecumseh originally for about 6-7 months. I rented a property. I didn't know a good place to live. And my family was still in the Ottawa area. And so about 3 months, I was kind of looking for a place. And every Saturday, I was off work, and so I cruise around the county and so forth. And I always came to a little restaurant. It used to be, and you probably are familiar with it, the Blackie's Corner.
Of course. Of course.
And that little hole in the wall breakfast spot, and a great coffee and a good breakfast. And I remember getting there, and I would have my Windsor Star, Toronto Star, and papers, and I'd sit there and have breakfast and so forth. A gentleman came to me about, might have been the third time I was there, small town. And he said, do you mind if I join you? And I said, sure. Sat down. We had a conversation, introduced himself. My name is Duff Lemire. I'm the fire chief of the town. He said, you're new in the area. You just moved in the area. I said, no. But I said, I'm kind of interested in this area because it reminds me of my hometown, Cornwall. And he said to me, he said, you got a young family and so forth. He says, great place to live. He said, don't look anyplace else. And he said, you got everything here. People are nice and they're friendly and blah, blah, blah. And then one thing came to the other. And I remember that day went to my wife. I called her and I said, I think we need to find a place here. And we did. And that always stuck with me. This gentleman didn't have to come up and introduce himself and he was a member of the administration. He was a fire chief, but he did.
Good people attract good people.
Yeah, and so I was so impressed. And then I got it right away. My family moved in, and we did our thing, and I got involved in the community. And that was the thing that got me, and say, what is it that excites you about the community? It's the people. It's the people. And what else is there to add? Because they're passionate, and I'll say the people in this town are passionate.
Sure are.
And and that's good. That's a good thing. And as I got involved in the community through the Knights of Columbus, and I became the Grand Knight. I was the former district deputy back at that time, and then I was asked to run for council by my predecessor, Ed Reno, at the time, and I did. And to me, it's the joy of watching the community prosper and grow. I think that's the reward. I mean, it's there's some days, yes, it's frustrating, and it can be like in any part of business. Yeah. But you know what? When you start seeing stuff like protecting Lakewood, buying it, protecting Fairplay Woods conservation area, the last Carolinian large forest left in the county. And, now seeing that now being expanded by a family conservation philanthropy group that are going to come in and help us make that place very special. When you start seeing those assets building up into a community and seeing it grow from them when I first moved here at 6,500 population to now 26,000, and people want to live here and so forth. Those are the rewards. That's what drives me to be able to say, what else can we do? We don't need to be the biggest, but we should work towards being the best. And I think that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
and it excites me to be able to do that and to work with such a dynamic group of people, whether it's my administration, at the town, the council, and the business community. It's that's the beauty of living in a small community. It's not impersonal, it's personal. And we've been blessed with great schools in the area, and then we're close to a lot of great things in the community.
Absolutely.
We got excellent schools of excellence of the University of Windsor, St. Clair College, and everything is here. And when I first moved here, the first thing I said to folks back home, it's the best kept secret.
Gary, I've been in real estate. This is my 38th year, and I do a lot of relocations, transfers, people come into the city, to this area, if you will. And I can tell you over 95, 96% of them never leave. Some think, I'm just getting a job transfer for, 2, 3, 5 years, I'll be back. And they never leave. I did a deal with a gentleman from CSIS. He said to me, Goran, this is my 12th transfer. He says, it's my last posting. And when it's done, do you know where I'm going to be moving to? And I said, where? He goes, Tecumseh. He loves to canoe, he loves to run, a bike, he's very active. He says, where else can you have all of these things? And yet we're affordable and we're safe. And you want a big airport? From town to Tecumseh, you're 40, 45 minutes to Detroit Airport. If you live in Mississauga, where the Toronto Airport is, you're 45 minutes from the Toronto Airport.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. So we're truly blessed. And, we're truly blessed to have leadership like you in place. And my friend, I've got your back. And keep doing the great job that you're doing.
Thank you very much, Gordon, for having me. And
thank you.
Best of luck to you too, and once again, thank you for choosing our community. I said it when you had your grand opening. We're very, very fortunate, and continue to do what you're doing, and we'll continue to work together, make this place even better.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.